What's happening, Growmies? It's your boy Tev, and welcome back to the Dank Lab. It's time for the garden update for weeks 8 through 9, so let's see how it's growing. Week 8 started with some defoliation on the ladies. Defoliation is the act of removing larger fan leaves that are blocking light from reaching the lower canopy, other cola areas, and the overall lower growth. In week 8, the girls started off real thick and bushy, and after the defoliation, we can now see the lower branches and pretty much all the cola areas. This is what I want. Right after defoliation, I just readjusted the ties and holy shit, let's look at these things. The Gorilla Skittles is coming along really well. I mean, her overall leaf color is healthy, the main stem is thick, and the structure from the low stress training is causing her to spider out, which is looking real nice. The only thing I'm going to do different next time when I train is let them grow a little taller before I start training, and I'll reinforce the lowest part of the stem with a wire and pull the top over in the opposite direction, just to give me that added space for watering. Because I mean, geez, there's like no room under here. The training is working really well, a bit too well if I'd say. The Jack 47 is keeping up with its description. As a result of its genetic freshness and hybrid vigor, this plant adapts very well to every kind of growing technique. And I can 100% vouch for that. I mean, her stem is trippy as a mother clucker, and the structure is also very spread out from the low stress training. I mean, look at all these cola areas. I'm so excited to see her pick up some weight. The Afghan Number 2 is the lady leading the pack. Her structure is my favorite. I mean, the lowest branch has sort of just become an extension of the main stem, thick and juicy looking. And the other branches up the main stem have balanced out quite nicely, creating an even canopy throughout the plant. Now, there was a close call when it comes to adjusting the ties after I defoliated her. I almost snapped the main stem right at the top. At least I felt it get a bit weaker before I tried to push it, so it didn't snap completely, and it's safe to say she's recovered very well and her strength is back. The Afghan Number 1 is doing some straight up weird shit. The node spacing is less than a centimeter between branches, and she just looks like a bowl of salad. If you can remember, this is the lady that was topped and low stress trained after she'd recovered from the topping. Yet she doesn't seem to have bounced back really, staying really compact. The stem is also really stiff and doesn't really move. So I'm just gonna let her be and see what happens. So in actual fact, and I am recording this after the entire episode, just as an update, but Freedom Farms actually gave me their opinion and said that the Afghan Number 1 in particular is showing signs of nutrient deficiency, but they guided me with the solution to fix both issues, which we're about to get into. Now, back to it. Last but not least is the LSD, and this is where things got a little complicated. At first, she looked really healthy to me, just like the others, and everything was all good in the hood, until I started to notice the slightest of leaf tip burn. So, okay, nothing to panic about, I mean it's tiny, so I'll just keep an eye on it and see if it progresses. If so, I have time to identify the issue and correct it. This is when I contacted Freedom Farms, just for an expert opinion, and they are really helpful. So I'm going to link them in the description, and feel free to check out their craft soils and contact them if you have any queries about their products. Not only are the products great, but the team is too. A few days have gone by, and week 9 has started, so let's re-examine the problem. It's slightly progressing, but not only that, I'm now noticing it on almost all the girls. So let's figure out what's wrong. Step 1. We want to look at the ladies under natural light. So I'm going to take the LSD outside just to get an idea of her natural color. And already, note 1, she's looking slightly dark, almost a dark forest green color. Step 2. We want to identify where on the plant the issue is. In my case, it's the younger growth and towards the top of the plant. The older growth is 100%. And this is where the information from Freedom Farms was like gold. They said, and I'm paraphrasing, immobile nutrients are generally deficiency related and show symptoms on younger growth, whereas mobile nutrient deficiencies show symptoms on older growth and usually older fan leaves first. But when it comes to mobile nutrient toxicity or abundance, this normally shows symptoms on newer growth too, but can be identified in a few ways. For example, in step 1, we notice the slight dark forest green color. This is a sign of phosphorus toxicity. I don't like that word, it sounds so hectic, so I'm just going to replace it with abundance. Then there is a potassium abundance, and this is usually the first sign of a nutrient buildup and can be identified by brown necrosis on the leaf tips, which is exactly what we're seeing. I just want to explain the difference between necrosis and chlorosis before we go any further. Necrosis is dying spots on the leaves, like the burning tips, and chlorosis is generally directly related to deficiencies. This is the yellowing of your leaves, and if the deficiency progresses, dead spots will start to form in the yellow spots. I will attach a reference image I use to gauge abundance versus deficiency right at the top of the description, or if you head over to my Instagram right now, at Dank Lab ZA, and hit me up with a DM, I can also send it to you. Just ask for the nutrient issue reference and I'll hook you up. In case you guys were wondering, Freedom Farms also suggested that 5.5 to 6.2 is the optimal pH range for watering their premium classic cocoa medium. So I pretty much have a nutrient buildup, and since I caught it early, the solution Freedom Farms has suggested is to just flush the medium at a pH of 6.2 with a full spectrum nutrient solution, whereas I would have thought just dechlorinated tap water. But according to the experts at Freedom Farms, flushing with pure water can leave your exchange and leaching of various elemental nutrients disproportional, leaving your medium's nutrient composition out of balance. They recommend I flush with a runoff of about 50%, with my nutrient solution's electrical conductivity, or EC, at 1.2 ms, or 600 parts per million, also known as ppm. So it's been 3 days and we're now at the end of week 9, and the girls are looking really happy. They've gone back to being real thick and bushy like when we started the update, and the burns seem to have chilled out a bit. I'm going to trim again just to free up some space and allow for better airflow through the canopy. In the next garden update, we'll hopefully see them bounce back, and I've decided to let them veg for another 2 weeks, just to fill out the tent a bit more. I'm also giving them time to recover by doing this, and then we'll flip to flower in the next update. But I hope you guys enjoyed the update and found some things helpful. I mean, even I've learned a shitload, thanks to my guys at Freedom Farms. And you can see, you're going to see my mistakes and wins through the season. Next week I'll explain how I achieved the structure with the low stress training, in order to even out my plants and equalize all colas for light across the tent. And when I flip, I'm going to put in a trellis net and scrog the ladies. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell icon, and make sure not to miss next week's episode and the flipping garden update in 2 weeks. Until next time, Growmies, keep those heads up and those bongs bubbling. No more blunts, because apparently we
put saliva with the paper, and then they share that zone. It means they are also shared. If when people zone, they put saliva with the paper.